In today's video, we're going to take a look at a night vision rifle setup that is both versatile, affordable, and functional. I'm talking about the oneleaf.ai Commander NV100 Plus 3x12 day and night vision rifle scope. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. And as I said, today we're going to be taking a look at a very affordable night vision scope setup from the folks at oneleaf.ai. And the folks at OneLeaf were kind enough to send me this so I could show it to you. And we're going to do that. But first, we don't really have a video sponsor for this video, but I want to take a minute to give a big shout out to the folks at Tactical Response up in Camden, Tennessee. You may have heard that James Yeager, the founder of Tactical Response, passed away a couple of weeks ago at the time of me making this video. And I was up there last weekend for a life celebration of his life with about 300 or 400 other alumni. So it was really a very pretty unique time. But I did want to let you know that Tactical Response is still around, and the good thing is that over the years, James has created all his curriculum in written form so that if you take a class from Tactical Response today or tomorrow, you'll be taking James Yeager's curriculum. And I can tell you I've had multiple classes there, and the only one that James was the instructor in was my very first one. I have trained with multiple other instructors there. In fact, I have trained right now with every instructor they have in one class or another, and I can firmly say they are all extremely competent and extremely good, and they do a really great job of teaching and presenting the curriculum that James created. So if you're looking for a way to up your ability to defend yourself and your family, I highly recommend Tactical Response. One thing I really like about them is that all the instructors there treat it as more than a job. It's really like their mission to make sure that you leave better prepared to deal with basically the world than when you got there. So tacticalresponse.com is the website. I'll put a link in the video description below. Again, it's not a sponsorship. They're not paying me anything like that. I just highly recommend them as a place to train. Now, let's talk about this here rifle scope. So first of all, why would you need a night vision rifle scope? Well, a lot of people use them for hunting hogs, or all sorts of other varmints. My friend James Yeager had a saying that night vision is the only superpower you can buy. So it is pretty cool. But if you've checked out night vision before, you know that it's usually very, very expensive. It can run into literally the thousands and tens of thousands. And this combo right here is about $500. Not about, it's $499.99, so $500. So it's on the bottom end of the price scale. So I was curious to see what the performance was going to be like. And I got to say, I was really pretty impressed with it. Okay, now full disclosure, I don't have a lot of experience with night vision, so I kind of get that that's like somebody who's never had a filet mignon talking about how great the hamburger steak is. I understand, but if it works, it works. And what I wanted to see was, will this thing let me see in the dark? Bottom line, that's what it is. These videos are for regular folks, so I'm not a Navy SEAL sniper operator. I'm just a regular dude, and but I think it's pretty cool to be able to see in the dark. So let's talk real quickly about this. Now, I got 3 pages of specs I could go over, and I don't understand what 99% of them mean. So if you're a tech nerd, which is cool if you are, get on their website. They've got all sorts of specs. Okay, I will go just a little bit off of that. This thing features a high-definition Sony CMOS sensor with Sony Starvis back-illuminated pixel technology with a pixel per inch resolution of 4103. That's as techie as I'm getting, because I don't even know what that means, but it sounds pretty cool because it's from Sony, right? So anyway, I know somebody's going to say, you should learn what you're doing when you're making whatever. I want to know if it works, if it lets me see in the dark, and then if it allows me to maximize my capability to hit what I'm shooting at. So does the night vision work, and is the scope accurate? So that's really what I need to know, and probably what you need to know, unless you just really want to delve into all the tech stuff. So a couple of things I thought were cool about this. First, it says it is rated up to .308 caliber for the recoil and shock management. It's good for up to 328 yards at night, so that's a pretty long shot. for me anyway. It has a built-in video recorder, which I think is cool. It even lets you do slow motion video. So that's not only cool for being able to record your hunts and your shots, but also it's kind of almost, looking in hindsight, it could be kind of a training tool, because when you review the videos, you can see, if you're looking at a target especially, you can see where the reticle was when you pressed off the shot. And sometimes you might have thought it was on the old crosshairs and it was somewhere else. So that's pretty cool. And finally, it is water resistant, waterproof. It's not submersible, but it's okay in the rain and weather. So that is kind of the basics of this thing. So what I thought we'd do is take you down to the old bench top here. We'll talk about what comes in the box and real basically, you know, what the operations and the controls are on the thing. And then we'll take you to the range. I'll show you the first shots where I kind of try to sight the scope in with a 308. Then we'll show you some night shots in the old outdoor studio, just to show you how the night vision works. And then we'll take it to the local golf course here at night and try to see if we can see how far out we can see. At least try to get out to like 300 yards. Okay, I just want to show you everything that comes in the package. So you got your night vision, the scope caps on either end, an extra eyepiece if you want a longer eye relief eye cup. Actually 2 extras, so 3 different versions. A sleeve here that you can use if you want to mount this onto a different scope, because it'll fit right on here. Let's see, find it. And then you can actually clamp this onto a different scope. And also they have some PVC tape that you can put around the scope here if it doesn't fit, to keep it from scratching your scope, and also just to make it work. A little cap here, protective cap for your IR lens to keep it protected when you're not using it. A couple of Allen wrenches, the other one I think is on my desk. A couple of extra little O-rings here, and a charging cable. So everything you need to use the night vision with this scope or another scope. Oh, it also comes with a reasonably comprehensive little instruction manual that tells you all about not only about the scope and different things about the scope, but also all the different modes and settings, because it's a piece of electronic stuff, so you know it's going to have this kind of stuff. Okay, so here is the OneLeaf AI Commander NV100 Plus night vision rifle scope setup. Let's just talk about the features or the details of this thing from the front to back. First of all, it features a large 56mm objective lens, which is pretty big, let a lot of light in. Top of the scope, the windage and elevation turrets have screw-on covers, and then they also are marked, so you can, they're 1/8 MOA per click, and then when you get them zeroed, you can loosen these screws up, lift them up, and lock them back down, so they'll be the indicators will be at 0, which really helps you if you need to make some field adjustments and you don't have to remember where it was. There's a side parallax adjustment on here, so that's pretty cool. Lets you keep I like side parallax adjustment better than the eyepiece. It's easier to use when you're got it up at your eye. And then there's an 11 level illuminated reticle, which is also pretty cool, because that allows you to see the reticle even in the bright sunlight, and you can dial it way down when you're using the night vision. 3 to 12 power, which is very, very good magnification. Then your diopter adjustment on the scope is back here. Going on back to the night vision, objective lens focus here is here, and your diopter adjustment on the night vision is back here. On the side, there's a little water resistant cover that has your mini SD card slot, a headphone jack, and a little micro SD charging / connection cable. And then to remove the night vision, a little lever back here. Pull that little lever and twist it like 30 degrees and it comes off. You'll see there are some little notches here that correspond to some grooves here. Going on to the night vision unit itself, on the top, and I've got the cover on, be very careful, it's the IR illuminator right here, and you'll notice that thing slides out to focus. So as you slide it out, the beam gets smaller and tighter for further distance. Slide it back in, it spreads out. This thing is powered by one 18650 battery, and it comes with this Samsung 18650 battery. So everything you need is in the box. There's even a battery in the box for the lighted reticle, which goes right inside this cap right here. Going on around to the controls for the night vision, there's a power button here. Turn it on, you see the green come on. Now, when you're looking through here, there'll be a welcome screen that comes up, and there'll be some information on there. You've got your recording time up in the corner, on one corner. The other corner tells you if your infrared's on or not, and there may be a couple of other little things. I tried to record that and show you, but it does not show up on the recording, but you can only see it through here, and I can't get the camera to show that. So you have to trust me on that. But there are 5 buttons here, 4 of them around a central. The central one is your record button and your camera button. You can also take still photos with it. The one on the left is what you switch from infrared to color. And once you get it in an infrared, you also have 6 different infrared power levels. So use the color for the daytime and the infrared for night. At the top, there's a screen zoom and the laser control. On the right is the menu control, and it lets you go in and change the menu options and parameters, and the playback to playback your video. And on the bottom is the digital zoom, which is a 1 to 3 power digital zoom. So if my math is right, if you got the scope on 12 power and you click this on 3 power, that should be 36 power. You should be really zoomed in. I think my math's right on that. And then just to turn it off, you just hold it down and power goes out. And finally, one more thing I want to bring up. This is the optional cantilever mount that I asked him to send me. It comes with regular rings, and I had those mounted on the air gun, and I decided to just go ahead and put this on a 308. And I put this on so that I could take the scope off and take it out and do some night vision tests without carrying a rifle around and potentially getting arrested. So with the cantilever mount included and the light and the night vision on it, this entire setup weighs 2 pounds, 15.9 ounces, call it 3 pounds. The night vision itself unit weighs 13.2 ounces. The specs say 12 ounces. I weighed it at 13.2 ounces. The scope by itself, the specs say it is 1 pound, 12.3 ounces. And with the cantilever mount, the scope by itself is 2 pounds, 2.6 ounces. So bottom line, as it is, again, 3 pounds. Stick around, by the way. I'll tell you a really funny story at the end of the video. Maybe you can laugh at me a little bit, but we'll save that for the end. So now let's talk about the range. So as I said, this thing's rated for a 308 caliber. So I decided to take my Midwest Industries 308 AR to my local indoor range, Stoddard's range. We have a 25-yard indoor range, and see if it would stay in zero, if I could get it in zero, and it would stay in zero throughout several rounds. I did get on the internet looking up some ballistics about 1 to 1.5 inches low at 25 yards for the 308 caliber, should be close to zero at 200 yards. But before I show you that footage, let me just say, I got 2 different diopters here, right? So trying to get the focal right. So the reticle wasn't as clear on the video as it seemed to be to my eye doing it. I mean, it seemed to be pretty clear to me when I was shooting, but I went back and looked at the footage, and the reticle is not real clear. That wasn't how it was when I'm looking through here. I'm just telling you that. So, and there's a little bit of a tweak, and I think probably I should have really dialed this one in first and then tried to dial this one in. But there's a little learning curve there. Just be straight with you about that. But it did fine. As you can see from the group sizes, it did fine. So I had some pretty good groups. Okay, so didn't do a extremely huge round count. Only shot 60 rounds. But, you know, 308 ammo ain't cheap. But I have to say, from round 1 to round 60, the point of impact to point of aim was very, very consistent. So it seemed to hold up really well, at least to 60 rounds of 308 fire. Okay, so that's some of the range footage, which I think showed very well that this scope not only stayed true to aim point, but also the functions seemed to work fine. So the footage you're about to see next is some nighttime footage that was taken after I shot the 60 rounds to it, because I wanted to make sure that the recoil from the 308 didn't affect the operation of it at all. So now we're going to take a look at a little night footage from the old outdoor studio here at Survival on Purpose. Okay, just to be clear, this is what it looks like with just the camera. I can see a little bit more with my naked eyeball, but not a lot. This is the naked camera. And this is what it looks like straight through the night vision monocular with no magnification. Trying to get it focused in for you. I mean, it really does focus in pretty daggone clearly, as you can see that. And then we'll check the different levels of IR light. So that's let's see, a little less infrared, a little more infrared. Just look how clear that's the balance, orientation, and rotation device. You can see that. almost like daylight out there. And if I pull out the infrared beam on it, you can see it pulls the infrared out, focuses it down. Oh man, you can see that's a really, really bright infrared spot there. So we're going to dim it down some. Okay, so that was some of the night footage at about 25 yards. If you're going to use this for hog hunting or varmint hunting or something like that, you might want to go out past that. So they say this thing's rated to about 328 yards. I took it to a local golf course to see how well it would do, and that's the footage that's coming up next. Okay, so here's the golf course. Just want to kind of give you a heads up. So that's the golf path. I'm standing on a tee that says it's 360-something yards to the green, which is just over that hill. So I'm going to say it's at least 300 yards to that hill, to there right there. And you can see that really, really clearly. So it's about 300 yards away. And there's the full moon out tonight. So, but I'm looking, this thing is really, really crystal clear for a long way. I mean, those trees back there are at least 200 yards away. You can see those things completely clearly. Look up inside. If there's a coon up there, you can see him. Pretty cool. And this is on 3 power. So that was 3 power. If you zoom this thing in, this is zoomed all the way in. Let's see if I can get some clarity on that now. Now that's pretty good. And that's a 9 power on the scope, and that's about 300 yards away. I'm just freehanding this, so I didn't want to bring a rifle to the golf course. I thought that might freak people out at night. So anyway, there you go. Pretty stinking neat. Let's dial it back down to the 3 power, just so you can see I'm not making this up. Okay, so that was some of the longer range night footage, somewhere around 300 yards. And I got to say, like I said, I was pretty impressed. It's just neat to be able to look out when it's dark and put this thing up in front of your face and be able to see. It's like my friend James Yeager said, it's the only superpower you can buy. So what I thought I would do is we'll talk about some pros of this thing and a couple of cons that really stood out to me, as I was testing it out. And if you want to stick around to the end, you can have a good laugh at my expense, because I'll tell you a quick story about a couple of doofus moves I made here while I was testing this. But we'll save that to the end. So first of all, the pros. First of all, the price is obviously going to be a pro. This thing's $500, and like I said, you can spend a lot more than that on some night vision. Is it the best out there? Like, I don't know, but it works. That's what I can say. It does work. Are there better stuff out there? Absolutely, I'm sure there is. Is there thermal? Thermal is another whole layer of stuff. This is not thermal. This is IR, which is pretty cool. But I like the lighted reticle. I like the side parallax adjustment. I like the way it connects. It's very, very seamless and intuitive. There's not a lot of problem with it. I like the fact that you can record with it. I think that's pretty cool. And it just it works. Okay, I like it, the fact that it works. So let's talk about a couple of cons. First of all, let's get this right out there. I've already said it. I know a lot of people are going to be unhappy because this thing is made in China. I get it. I like American-made stuff too. I'm American. But if you want a $500 night scope, you're not going to get an American-made $500 night scope that I know of. If you know of one, leave it in the video description below. I don't know of any. I don't know of any for even close to that. So that's a possible con. The other thing that was a little bit of a negative for me, I really had to work at getting. When I have it all on there, there's a little bit of a learning curve, I guess is what I'm trying to say. A learning curve on getting everything dialed in, everything focused on. Once you get it, you got it. But it does have a little bit of a learning curve there. And then the other thing, one thing I was going to show you, it's not a big deal, but the IR, it's got a little wiggle to it. Like you can turn it like that. And it kind of feels like it's not supposed to. I know it's not supposed to. So sometimes when you screw that cap on, if you screw it too tight, it'll start turning. It feels like there's something in there that could break loose if you're not really careful. But I haven't broken it, so, but that's something. I wish that was a little bit stiffer. And I think it's just the No, it's the whole unit. I thought it was just the part that slides out. Okay, the whole unit does slide out. So I don't know if there's a way they could fix that or not, or change that. But again, it's a $500 scope, so you got to take that into account. But bottom line, it works. So, and the scope works, so it lets you hit what you're shooting at. And something I completely forgot to mention was about the laser. I neglected to zero the laser, so that's another feature I think it's pretty cool to have that laser for helping you aim, especially at night. Now, it's time for the have a laugh at Brian's expense story. So, I'll be honest with you, the first time I went to test this thing, I took it out of the box like this. I had it all going. I took the night vision off, tested it first at 25 yards at the old backdoor studio, and it was clear. Everything was really, really crystal clear. It looked really good. I connected it to the scope, looked through it. I couldn't see anything. Now, if I pointed it at my neighbor's garage, what had some lights on over there, I could see pretty clearly. I moved it back to the dark. I couldn't see a thing. I emailed them and said, hey, look, man, I can't see anything. I sent them a little copy of the video, and they said they got involved with their engineers, and I said, tell them just to take the scope cover completely off. So guess what? You see anything now? Here's the infrared illuminator, and there's the scope cover. Oh, yeah. I took it off. It works fine. So that was a doofus moment that I really didn't have to share with you, but I figured, you know what? You needed to get a laugh. So anyway, that's it. Bottom line, it's a $500 night vision scope that actually works. So I got to give them thumbs up for that. And thanks to the folks at oneleaf.ai for sending me this so I can show it to you. I'll put a link to this in the video description below. It is available on Amazon. So for $500, you can have a superpower. As always, thanks for supporting our sponsors. Thank you so much for watching Survival on Purpose, for clicking that like button, for subscribing, for sharing it with your friends, all that good stuff. I really sincerely appreciate it. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.